In this video, we will show you how to terminate the IP16SC-XP connector, which is field installable. You will begin by making sure that you have all the components you need to perform this termination. This includes the IP16 housing with safe lock technology, and it contains the ingress protection rubber seal, the XP Fit SC connector. A green outer housing will be included in this kit, but you will not be using it in this termination, so you can discard it or set it off to the side. The IP16 SC connector clip, which will be used in place of the green housing, an IP back post, an IP crimp ring, a large diameter cable stripping tool, a cable stripping tool, Kevlar shears, a precision cleave tool, and the proper crimp tool. In this case, we are terminating onto 4.8mm cable, so we will be using crimp tool CRT448. You will also need an XP Fit test kit, which will be covered later on in the video. The first step is to insert the IP16 outer housing onto the cable. Once installed, you will want to tighten both ends together so the outer housing stays firmly on the cable. The next step is to install the crimp ring. On the inside of the crimp ring, you will see some teeth. The teeth should be installed onto the cable first. Now, get ready to strip the cable jacket. As per the termination procedure, measure 45mm from the end of the cable and mark it. Then, use a large diameter cable stripper, as seen here, to score the outer jacket of the cable construction. Then, bend the cable at the scored area of the jacket. This will allow you to remove the outer jacket and expose the armid yarn and coated fiber. Now, you will want to separate the armid yarn from the fiber. The instructions state to leave 6mm of armid yarn as a minimum, but you can always leave more for easier handling during assembly. Here, we can be seen leaving about 10 to 15mm. In the next step, you need to strip off the 900 micron loose tube based on the 21mm length in the termination procedure. Measure 21mm and mark it. Then, use the cable strippers to strip it. If your cable construction has tight buffer or you are unsure at this step, it is recommended to strip in 5 to 10mm increments to be sure not to harshly bend or break the fiber. Then, strip the 250 micron coating with the appropriate hole in the cable strippers. Once stripped, you will want to use IPA to clean off any debris or coating remaining on the stripped fibers. Also, screen the fiber by sweeping it in all 4 directions to about 30 degrees to ensure the fiber still has its integrity. Now you are ready to cleave the bare fiber. Grab your precision cleave tool and load the fiber into the cleaver. There is a small ruler on the cleaver attachment which can be used to measure how long the cleave will be. The termination procedure requires that you have 13mm of stripped fiber coming out of the loose tube or buffer of your cable. Therefore, you will need to line up the loose tube or buffer with the 13mm mark on the cleave tool ruler. When you are ready, close the fiber holder and slide the cleave bar to cleave the bare fiber. Always make sure to dispose of the cleaved bare fiber correctly and carefully. The next step of the process is to apply the crimp. Here, we like to use a small brush to distribute the armid yarn so that it stays around the outside of the back post. Then, slide the back post all the way up to the beginning of the cable jacket, and then slide the crimp ring up the cable and over the back post, effectively trapping all the armid yarn between the 2 components as shown. Do not crimp your crimp ring yet in case something isn't quite right and you need to remove it. This will protect you from wasting a crimp ring and back post and having to restart. Once your crimp is in place, grab your XP Fit connector and get ready to install it onto the bare fiber. Open the latch on the front of the connector wedge and remove the dust boot on the back of the connector. Then, slowly insert the fiber into the back of the connector until you feel the fiber stop. Once you feel it stop, add slight force until the fiber begins to bow as seen here. Then, squeeze the sides of the connector wedge, which activates the connector mechanical splice, locking onto the fiber. Now, Confirm that the length from the back post to the back of the connector is 10 millimeters. If it is too long or too short, it is recommended to restart, taking close care to follow proper dimension guidelines. It is now possible to check that the mechanical splice was correctly aligned using an XP Fit test kit. This kit consists of a visual fault locator, also known as a VFL, a special adapter that has a cutout to show the windows on the connector properly, a 3 dB attenuator, and an SC-UPC to SC-APC jumper, because we have terminated an APC connector. If you have terminated a UPC connector, then you will need an SC-UPC to SC-UPC jumper. First, plug the attenuator into the VFL. Then, plug the UPC end of the jumper into that attenuator. Now, plug the other end of the jumper into the adapter. At this point, you can plug your termination into the other side of the adapter to verify that there is no red light illuminating the windows in the connector. If the connector is verified for continuity, place the dust cap onto the connector to protect the end face. After the next step, the windows on the connector will no longer be visible, so it is extremely important to check the termination now before proceeding. Now, take out the appropriate crimp tool for your cable diameter as per the termination procedure. In this case, we are using the CRT 448 for our 4.8 millimeter cable. Align the crimp tool into place and perform the first crimp towards the connector as shown. It is recommended to leave about 1 millimeter of spacing between the first crimp and the second crimp for proper tensile strength. The second crimp will go over the teeth of the crimp, which will provide the most tensile strength. Remove the temporary outer housing from the connector, which in this case is red, and install the IP16 SC clip onto the connector assembly. Make sure that the chamfered end of the connector aligns with the key on the connector clip. You will push the connector into the IP clip until you hear a click. Now it is time to slide the IP16 SC housing into position. Take note that the housing has a flat section on the inside, which will align with the flat portion on the clip. Be very careful with the fiber, so no bends or snags are introduced into this step. The two pieces will click into place where the clip will be flush with the housing. The last step is to make sure that the crimp post is in the housing properly. By gently pulling on the cable, you will feel the back post against the back of the housing. You can then tighten the cable gland by screwing it clockwise. To ensure an IP-rated seal, the proper torque specification is 22 inch-pounds. And now, your termination of the IP16 SC-XP is complete. It is always recommended to inspect your fiber optic end face before connecting. Using the Senko Smart Probe 2, also known as the SP2, paired with the View 3 app, spelled VUE3, which will look something like this, you can view the end face by using the appropriate adapter for the 2.5mm APC ferrule. The example shown on the View 3 interface is contaminated and requires cleaning. When cleaning any fiber optic end face, it is very important to use fiber optic specific cleaning tools. At Senko, we offer a variety of solutions for your needs, and here we will be demonstrating two of them. First, the Senko Smart Cleaner 2.5mm, which automatically dispenses the cleaning ribbon as you use it. All you have to do is remove the tip cap of the cleaner for ferrule or male cleaning, and for socket or female cleaning, you must remove the whole tip entirely. Then, put the tip of the cleaner on the ferrule or in the socket and push the handle towards it. After cleaning, always go back to the SP2 to inspect the end face again until it is entirely clean. Or secondly, it's possible to use the Senko Smart Cassette, which uses a cleaning ribbon to remove the debris. You can turn the wheel 3 large notches to expose a fresh cleaning ribbon. Wipe your end face in the wiping direction, making sure to have the short side of the angle start. It is okay to wipe on the cleaning cloth twice as shown, but it is not recommended to wipe in the same area twice. And once again, after cleaning, always go back to the SP2 to inspect again, and never assume the connector end face is clean. If the connector end face is contaminated, keep cleaning it until you are ready to connect if that's what you choose to do. Otherwise, always install the dust cap to keep that end face protected. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, comment your thoughts, and subscribe for more Senko fiber optic content.